Hey guys, welcome back to Infinite Sky YouTube channel. And Boeing has introduced such technology in its planes which proved to be a disaster. It has committed such mistakes due to which hundreds of innocent people lost their lives. But still Boeing remained silent and tried to cover up its mistakes. Let us try to understand the whole case in today's video. FADEC, that is Full Authority Digital Engine Control, is basically a computer program which has ECU, that is Engine Control Unit, whereas TCMA, that is Thrust Control Malfunction Accommodation, it has the authority to shut down the engine without informing the pilot. Both these systems work together. If the systems work properly, it is fine. Otherwise, it can be quite dangerous. For example, suppose the engine catches fire. In such a situation, the fuel supply should be stopped. Here, if TCMA stops the fuel supply, then it will be fine. But what if the TCMA sensor itself gets damaged or starts giving false information, whereas in reality nothing like this happened? Then in such a case also the TCMA will shut down the engine. The failure of this TCMA is believed to be the reason behind the plane crash that happened in Ahmedabad on 12 June 2025. However, it seems that Boeing is trying to save its image and is interfering with the investigation of Air India Flight 171. Perhaps this is the reason why the official report was released in the US before India. What happened to Air India? This news leaks and reaches America. I think friends, Boeing itself must have decided what to tell in the report and what to hide. So it looks like a pilot error. What a terrible accident this was. I don't need to tell you. More than 300 people were killed. Experts believe that this accident was caused by some TCMA and is currently being investigated. On January 5, 2024, Boeing engineers made a mistake that put the lives of 177 people on board Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 at risk. Just about 6 minutes after the takeoff, the door of the plane came off and separated. As we all know that at high altitude, above almost 10,000 feet, the air pressure becomes very low. As the altitude increases, the person begins to suffocate. Therefore, air pressure is maintained inside the plane, just like it happens on Earth. But when Alaska Airlines was at 16,332 feet, then its door broke and all the pressurized air came out. However, in such a case, there are oxygen masks in the plane for the passengers for 10 to 15 minutes so that the passengers can breathe till the plane comes down. About 3 minutes after the door came off, the pilot reached an altitude of 10,000 feet. A human can breathe at an altitude of almost 10,000 feet. After this, Alaska Airlines landed safely. All the people on the plane survived. This was nothing less than a miracle. If this accident had happened at an altitude of 30 to 35,000 feet, then perhaps the story would have been different today. Well, it is good that everyone's life was saved, but the scene that came to light after its investigation brought out the dark truth of Boeing. This was a plane of the Boeing 737 MAX 9 model, which was purchased by many airline companies. After this accident, United Airlines said that we inspected our planes which we had purchased from Boeing. The bolt with which the door of the plane was tightened was loose. Seeing all this, many planes were grounded. However, the numbers were not disclosed. When the bolts of the doors of Alaska Airlines were checked, it found that 4 bolts were not installed in the door. Actually, Boeing had delivered Boeing 737-900 to Alaska Airlines a few days ago, and since then 4 bolts of the door were missing. Whenever maintenance of a plane is done before delivery, its complete report is given to the airline company so that the airline company can also verify from its side whether everything is fine or not. The door of Alaska Airlines was open, but no such report was given to the airline company. They did not even know that the door of the plane was opened and fitted again. Even while fitting, 4 bolts were not tightened. Here Boeing saved itself by saying that we do not have any paperwork that we had removed the door. It is surprising, friends. Boeing workers had opened the door, but Boeing says that we do not know anything. If you have made a mistake, then accept it. After this accident, many Boeing planes were grounded. A year before this accident, in August 2023, it was discovered that many Boeing 737 planes had a problem with the installation of the AFT pressure bulkhead. It was drilled and installed incorrectly. Let us tell you that the pressure bulkhead plays an important role in maintaining the air pressure inside the aircraft. Due to this, passengers are able to breathe. But Boeing's negligence was seen even in such a sensitive part. However, Boeing also took immediate action on this. A few months later, when it was sent to an international airline for maintenance check, it was found that the bolts in the rubber of the plane, which controls the plane, were not tightened. When the remaining bolts of this rudder was checked, it was found that they were not tightened properly. On this, Boeing says that we will fix the missing bolts, and all 1,370 Boeing 737 MAX planes are asked to be checked again, meaning that maybe they also know that mistakes have happened not just in one plane, but in many planes. Is it a mistake that the nut was not tightened properly? This can be called negligence and not a mistake. Now it is possible that all the blame is put on the workers and engineers here. But from time to time, statements of Boeing engineers also keep coming. We also talked about this in the previous video. Sam, a Boeing engineer, had been working in Boeing for decades. He noticed that a lot has changed now. He says that while making a plane, everything is fitted in a hurry. To join many huge pieces of the plane, it has to be ensured that everything fits precisely. But the shape and size of two pieces should also be the same. Only then it will fit easily. But many times this does not happen and it is fitted in the wrong way. As a result, after a few years, the structure of the plane starts weakening. Sam also says that the workers jump like Tarzan and forcefully align the parts of the plane, and this is being done at a rapid pace for last few years. In case of emergency, 1 out of 4 oxygen mask is faulty. He also raised his voice against Boeing, but Boeing denied everything. Later on, a case was also filed on this issue in March 2024, but a single person could not stand up with such a big company. Maybe he was in depression when the third hearing took place in the court. After this, people found John's dead body. He had died due to a bullet wound on the head. The surprising thing is, friends, that 2 Boeing engineers died in an unknown way, and the coincidence here is that both of them had complained against Boeing. There's another person who raised his voice. He is also very scared that he might die too. In October 2028, a Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft's nose turned down automatically just minutes after takeoff. The pilot could not understand what was happening. He was constantly trying to lift the plane up, but it seemed as if someone else was controlling the plane. About 13 minutes after the flight, it crashed into the sea. All 189 people on board the plane were killed. Boeing always kept saying that it was not their fault, but when the final report came, it was revealed that Boeing, without telling anyone, installed a technology in Boeing 737 MAX 8 model which had the authority to lower the nose of the plane and make it fall without informing the pilot if there's a fault in the plane sensor. Friends, the plane has 2 or more displays. There are 2 or more indicators. There are also 2 autopilots. There are also 2 flight director switches. There are more than 2 hydraulic systems. But why? This is because if one goes wrong, then the other can handle the plane. But Boeing had installed a deadly system called MCAS, which was dependent on a single sensor. If that sensor goes wrong, then all the people on the plane will die. The pilot will also not be able to do anything because MCAS has all the control. Boeing's mistake was not limited to this. They did not tell anyone about the technology. At that time, no one knew what MCAS was. If Boeing had told, Boeing would have had to get approval first, and it would not have been approved because it was dependent on a single sensor. On top of that, the pilot would also have to be trained. The whole world would have to be told about MCAS. Maybe that's why Boeing kept quiet and no one came to know about this hidden deadly technology. Until the Lion Air crash happened, 189 people died in the accident. Then the whole world came to know about MCAS. After this accident, all the 737 MAX 8 should have been grounded immediately. But even then, this plane continued to be operated all over the world. Although according to a report, Boeing's manufacturing team already knew how dangerous this technology could be, but they also kept watching silently. Because of this silence, Lion Air crashed. If even now Boeing's manufacturing team had told the world that we have incorporated a technology called MCAS in the plane, because of this, more planes may crash, then maybe Lion Air would have been the last plane crash. But here also everyone remained silent. The result was that within about 6 months, another plane, Ethiopian Air Flight 302, crashed. This plane also crashed in the same way as Lion Air. 157 people were killed again. If Boeing had accepted its mistake, then perhaps those people would have been alive today. But after 2 back-to-back plane crashes, the world understood that Boeing 737 MAX 8 should be grounded. And Boeing also accepted that, yes, we made a mistake. 336 people were not going to return again. But why was Boeing and its engineers so silent? Why were people left to die? Well, I don't have the answer to that. But somewhere I feel that this is a game of business and money. Because if we understand the situation, go a little back in time, when Boeing 737 MAX 8 was not launched, only Boeing 737-8 was launched. At that time, the year was 2014, when Airbus launched a plane. In the year 2014, Airbus launched A320neo. This plane was much better and fuel efficient than Boeing 737-8. By 2019, Airbus A320neo had captured 60% market share. This model of theirs also left Boeing 737-8 behind. Boeing got another shock when its own country's airline company, American Airlines, ordered Airbus A320neo instead of Boeing 737. Not only 2 or 4 but hundreds of planes. Now here Boeing also needed a new plane like the Airbus A320, but it takes years to introduce a new plane. Research has to be done, a lot of money has to be spent. Maybe that's why Boeing made some changes to 737-8 and made it 737 MAX 8. The engine was changed and installed a little ahead of the wings. Due to all these changes, the control of the plane also got deteriorated. The nose of the plane must be at a perfect angle during takeoff and landing. But because the engine was changed and even heavier engine was installed, that too in front of the wings, therefore the control of the plane got disturbed. To counter this, Boeing installed MCAS and connected it to the angle of attack sensor. This is when the nose of the plane goes up more than required, the angle of attack sensor will know it and it will tell MCAS that the nose of the plane is going up. After this, the MCAS will bring the nose of the plane under control. But perhaps the biggest mistake Boeing made was that they linked it to a single angle of attack and didn't even tell anyone. Even the pilot did not know that there was something called MCAS in the plane. Maybe this was because Boeing did not want anyone to know about it, and the plane got approval quickly. And in this way, to compete with Airbus A320neo, Boeing quickly launched 737 MAX 8 in the market, and it turned out to be a huge disaster. Apart from this, there are dozens of Boeing planes in which many problems occur every day. If I keep counting them all, then the video will become very long. At the end of the video, all I will say is that there was a time when I considered Boeing planes to be the best, but after looking at the history of the last few years, I would say that if it is Boeing, I am not going. Everyone else has their own opinion. You too tell me in the comments below. Would you like to travel in Boeing or Airbus? That's all for now in this video. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, keep watching and keep learning.